Give you an update on the electric Cub project, the Farmall Cub E. Well, you know, if you know how to take an engine out, it's not too bad. I left the front bolster on here, and I took the axle off of it, and I put it on another bolster I had. This bolster's been cracked and soldered back together. I think that's lead solder. Surprisingly, it doesn't leak that bad. It was full of fluid. Radiator fluid. The engine, I think, is stuck, and I didn't really want to mess with it too much. I just pulled the whole front end of the tractor apart and put my bolster on the frame rails I made to replace. From here to there, I had to make a frame rail on both sides, and then I still have to mount the motor. However, it's still in progress, so I just use angle iron for the frame rails, and I cut and measured and made sure that the front bolster would line up properly. Knocking over metal pieces as I walk through the shop. I need to do a shop cleanup day. It's pretty messy back there. Back in. Here's where it gets funky. I put these frame rails in that I made. There's still welding to do to make the battery support and the motor mounts. I want to try to make it a drop-in kit where I don't have to modify any Cub parts. So I just put my parts on there. So the frame rails go to there, measuring bolt holes and getting them to where they're even. I made the little tabs there to go on the motor mount, or the bell housing, if you will. This side has the starter, so it's kicked out a little bit more. And the bolster kind of is sitting to the left, and then I wanted to make sure the steering shaft was straight, which I think I accomplished it, and made sure that it's resting in the same place so that any attachments off a normal Cub will bolt up. The radiator's kind of just, the hood is kind of sitting there with the radiator grill holding it up right now. I left the radiator support brackets in place. That side, the tab is broke off, but it bolted up here, so I still just mock-up of making sure the hood fit after I've made the frame rails. Check out this lever though. I mean, isn't that cool? This is a mechanical raise and lower for implements. It's got the big helper spring, the big bar that somebody welded an angle iron to because apparently it thought it was weak or something. But I don't have to mess with the hydraulic unit. I just got to be strong enough to pull that lever in place. It's a lot easier if there's an equipment hooked to it, but the spring is there to assist in lifting the implement up and down. So you can see how that spring will lower the implement, and then to raise the implement, push the button and lower it to the lock tab. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what that stamping mark is, but I thought that was a cool lever. It's part of the reason I got this one, because it had the mechanical lift already on it. So the motor, I have to make a spline shaft fit a keyed shaft, so there's going to be a long kind of a drive shaft, if you will, and the motor will sit back so I don't have to mess with the input shaft. This bolster came off another Cub. Another one, my 54 that I did, had this cracked bolster. I replaced it with a good bolster. So that's the Cub. I'll show you the motor parts. Mind the messy shop. I don't know if I'm going to reuse these. I got some high run from the farm store to use for front tires for now. I was going to see if trailer rims bolt, but they're the wrong. They don't match the implement bolt pattern. These 5-lug implement things have a bigger hub and a bigger diameter bolt pattern than these old 5-star little trailer tires. But here's the motor. 5 kilowatt air-cooled golden motor. It's pretty heavy. I can one-hand it barely. So you see, I'm going to have to make a adapter for that, and it'll live about there. If I can zoom out and hold it one-handed. Sorry for the shakiness. So that's the motor. Hopefully it's enough. I think the real dependency is on the battery for power. And that's the 5 kilowatt motor. Originally I want to go with the throttle style, but this is kind of cheap, so I did this until I could afford the throttle mechanism. Key switch, motor controllers, the 500 amp, 72 volt. Comes with a shit ton of electric connectors, and the main wiring harness. And then I got this plate. Apparently I put a dent in it already, that sucks. But I was going to do a solid front grille instead of the radiator screen. And then this is a piece of structural fiberglass board, 1/4 inch thick. This is going to be the motor mount. It's easy to work, and it's I'll just have to hole saw a big hole for the motor hub, and then the bolt holes, and then some sort of bracket, angle iron bracket maybe, to hold it with holes holding it in place where the motor needs to live. So that's what I'm using for my motor mount plate. I think it should be fine. It's a lot easier to work than a metal thick plate, and it will insulate the motor in case something were to go wrong. Electrically insulate the motor. We'll still, that's my plan. I haven't figured out the exact details on how to set that up yet. I have my idea of using the 1/4 inch fiberglass as the motor mount plate, and this thin sheet is going to be the front of the tractor. Around the hood, it's going to curve around, just be solid instead of a mesh screen on the front. And then the batteries aren't here yet. I think the battery I went with should fit under the hood and keep the stock appearance of that. It should be able to clear the gas tank and go in between the front radiator hood supports there. They would live about here, and there should be enough room under there to set the battery. And then I'd like to be able to just take the hood off in one piece and be able to swap the battery in and out. Or if I really wanted to juice it up, I could make another battery mount over here to the side and run 2 batteries. Or if I was really into it and I needed the space, I could cut the inside of the gas tank bottom out and have all the real estate under the hood. But I don't want to mess up the Cub parts. I want to keep the Cub parts factory, so this is just a bolt-in kit with the frame rails, the battery mounts. So yeah. Anyway, there's where we're at with the Farmall Cub E.